Now, the government has just declared Paul Manafort a flight risk. Now, Manafort and Rick Gates, of course, were arrested on Monday after they turned themselves in to the FBI. Now, they turned themselves in because of the indictment from Robert Mueller, which included 12 different counts, including conspiracy, money laundering, failure to disclose lobbying, lying to the FBI, and of course, like I said, lobbying on behalf of a foreign political party without actually saying that they were lobbying on behalf of a foreign political party. So now during the court hearing, the government successfully made the case that Manafort and Gates were a massive flight risk and should be given house arrest. Now that's interesting. So what made them such a big flight risk anyway? It's like, what in their history convinced the judge, okay, look, these guys, if we don't give them house arrest, if we don't watch over these people, they're gone. They're going to up and disappear. Well, they looked through some of their travel and some of their financial reports and made the decision that, yeah, these guys are too much of a danger to a fleeing justice, that we're going to make sure that they're home. Okay. Now, CNN put together some highlights of this, of some of the reasons why, some of their travel, and according to their court report, Manafort was found to have 3 different passports, each under a different phone number, and had submitted 10 passport applications in roughly as many years, prosecutors have said. Now, his travel included going to Mexico, China, and Ecuador with a phone and email account registered under a fake name. So, phone and email, fake name, traveling to different countries under fake names. Wonderful. Now, but don't worry, there's nothing shady about that. You'll hear that from Fox News, of course. Oh, nothing wrong with going with no. Well, most likely they just won't report it, but there still will be people who are defending him. Oh, what are you talking about? It's an email from a fake name and a phone number. I don't see anything wrong with that. I see no evil. I hear no evil, but I definitely speak evil, apparently. Now, some of the other places that he's traveled, at least over the past year, were places like Dubai, Cancun, Panama City, Havana, Shanghai, Madrid, Tokyo, and the Grand Cayman Island. So it's that frequent amount of travel and the collection of passports and the fact that he's used fake names that prompted the judge to be like, okay, this guy, if we take our eyes off him, he's gone. Like a ghost. Okay. So now there are other things also in these court papers, excuse me, that also deemed him a flight risk. And that's, of course, him lying about his assets in foreign banks. So, hey, man, if you've got all this money in foreign banks, like 19 million, 23 million, however million, 10 million, like the Bank of Cyprus, for example, or money is sitting in the Cayman Islands, well, it makes it pretty easy for you to just be like, uh-oh, the heat's on. I got to get out of here. But don't worry. I got a vast fortune. I can live it up on some tropical island. No problem. So let me give you an example of him lying about his assets. Manafort wrote on loan applications and other financial documents that his assets were worth between $19 million in April 2012 and $136 million in May of 2016. So I think part of that also is where he was trying to get loans for other homes that he can funnel money through and getting loans on that so we can funnel even more money through different properties. So this is all a giant, I mean, there's tax evasion going on here. And then there's also money laundering, alleged money laundering going on here. Now, in some months, like while he served as Trump's national campaign chairman, Manafort's assessment of his worth fluctuated. In August of 2016, he said his assets were worth $28 million, then wrote he had a $63 million in assets on a different application. So very shady guy, very dishonest about how much money he actually has. Interesting. Now, again, he's lied to all these different banks, and it's been shown in that. Bought homes, lied about the use of those homes to get tax credits, tax breaks, borrow against that, go buy other things, go buy $1 million worth of rugs. I still don't know why. I know some people are trying to be like, but if they're nice Persian rugs, you might actually get some return on investment. Oh, I don't really think he was all that interested in the return on investment on rugs. Maybe that has to do with money laundering. I don't know. I don't think all of his weird purchases or excessive purchases, and maybe they're not excessive, I don't know, but maybe not all of that, of course, is money laundering, but some of the big stuff, all the house flipping, I'm sure some of that might have something to do with money laundering, but that's my guess, right? Now, of course, any prosecutor that's looking at the amount of travel and how much money he's flipped and him lying on different various forms to banks, they're going to look at that and be like, no, that looks a little shady. That looks a little weird. That's a problem. Now, that's Manafort, right? Well, here's some other strange behavior by Manafort's protege, Gates. Gates, according to CNN, frequently changed banks and opened and closed bank accounts. Well, okay, look, change bank. Sometimes you don't like your bank. Again, I don't have much experience with that. I've been at the same credit union for, 7 years? So I don't feel the need to open or different checking accounts in different banks and different bank accounts. So maybe I don't have that experience. But even if you have changed banks pretty frequently to find the right one, the right interest rate, and opened accounts here and there, you probably have not likely opened 55 accounts with 13 different financial institutions within a short period of time. I'm just saying. Some of these bank accounts were opened in England and Cyprus, where he held more than $10 million from 2010 to 2013. Again, 55 accounts. Oh, but there's nothing strange here. No. Really? Who opens that many accounts in foreign countries? Weird. Shady behavior, right? To me, it looks like steps that people would take to launder large amounts of money. But that's just me. I'm not an expert in money laundering, so I don't know. But again, all this stuff makes sense that, for a judge to go and say, okay, dude, no, we're not going to let you go anywhere. You got to stay home. Now, they're lucky that they even got to get out and have home arrest or house arrest. There's a lot of people out there that wouldn't. A lot of people that are, poor, they end up being stuck in prison until they get charged or until they get sentenced. So they're actually lucky that they get to stay in their luxurious homes. I'm pretty sure he can spend all the time he wants with his rugs. I'm really stuck on the rug thing. But now, currently, speaking of house arrest, Manafort and Gates' house arrest conditions mean they can only leave their homes to meet with lawyers or appear in court, or for medical and religious reasons, and they must check in with authorities daily. They face sentences of more than 10 years if convicted on all charges. So, look, conspiracy, money laundering, lying to investigators, all that stuff, 10 years. Really? 10 years. That's all charges. Look, let me address that, okay? Because this is what boggles me about the justice system, right? So all these crimes, 10 years. And it's very, very likely that they might serve, if anything, a fraction of that if they're found guilty, if they're convicted. Now, contrast that with people who are primarily poor and minority that end up facing life sentences for things like possession of marijuana. Now here you had Manafort and Gates living it up, fancy flights, to different places and houses and the goddamn rugs and all the money they spend on, flipping homes and just living in the lap of luxury. And again, that person who might have sold a bag of weed or even just possessed enough weed in their car or something, or God forbid, had it planted on them by a police officer, that's happened before, ends up facing a life sentence. Think about that for a minute. Look, Manafort, of course, didn't hurt anybody, right? And I'm not in favor of locking him up for life in prison for doing what he allegedly did. So I'm not making that argument. I'm not. And that's, look, laundering money, too. I mean, think of the people who do launder money, right? Those are people often with criminal ties to dangerous individuals, maybe even mobsters, right? But then again, look, mostly nonviolent. These are financial white-collar crimes. I'm not looking to put anybody in prison for the rest of their lives for something even nonviolent. What I'm looking for here is, and I think what I'm asking for is parity. If you're going to throw a drug dealer in prison for life, then why not throw Manafort in there too? He did a nonviolent crime and might have helped some violent people who've done real harm. If you're going to do that to the drug dealer who supplied drugs to somebody, well, then do it to Manafort too. He deserves life, right? That's actually not what I'm arguing. Yes, drug dealers should get in trouble for what they're doing. Yes. Don't forget, though, that some of these drug dealers are only in the business because they don't have any other opportunities. Manafort and Gates were swimming in opportunity, okay? And they still decided, you know what? We're going to get rich off crime. Allegedly, of course. But look, my point is maybe if we're going to, or maybe instead of locking people away for life, for nonviolent drug crimes, maybe we should look into having a more fair justice system. That includes fair sentences and judges actually being able to be judges and having fair sentences for everyone. That includes the wealthy and the connected. Now, I know that's going way, way too far already because, yes, they've been charged, indicted. We'll see. They're not, we don't even know if they're guilty of this stuff, of these different crimes. But it just always makes me think of how we treat minorities and the poor versus the wealthy and connected like Manafort. When you look at them, when you compare them side by side, it's obvious that there is definitely a two-tier justice system in America. I know that got away from Manafort and being under house arrest, but that's an important thing. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.